Summer's almost here, and you might be considering moving from your dorm into an apartment in the city. Moving into an apartment comes with a lot of questions. It's a big step. What kind of rental process is it? What kind of paperwork do I need? How much is it going to cost me? We're going to go inside today to a great starter apartment. We're going to meet with Douglas Wagner, the Executive Director of Leasing at Bond New York, so he can show us around and answer all your questions.
Hey!
Hi, Douglas. Thanks for meeting with us today.
Glad to help.
So what are we seeing?
Well, this is a typical starter apartment in a walk-up building in the East Village of Manhattan.
That sounds great. And what size is this apartment?
This is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. This is typically the kind of apartment that a few tenants would share, which is a great way when just starting out to combine on space and expenses. And this apartment's cool because it's just been renovated.
That's exciting. Let's go inside. So tell me, what are some features of this apartment that make it an ideal place for someone transitioning out of dorm life into apartment living?
Well, first of all, we're right here in the East Village. We're on St. Mark's Place. So for anybody who's attended one of the many universities that are in this area, the location's going to be very familiar. Totally close to transportation, easy to get to work. But as you can see, this apartment has also been renovated within an inch of its life. So you've got these fantastic granite countertops and stainless steel appliances and new cabinets. But the apartment also has 3 separate bedrooms with doors that close, which add privacy even in a shared space.
That's great. It's a great apartment. I could really see myself living here.
So let's go check it out.
Great. What type of paperwork am I going to need?
Oh, good question. When transitioning from a dorm, you should think like a landlord. And remember that you have to prove that you have all of the income, the assets, the credit, and the housing history to be qualified to rent an apartment. Be prepared to demonstrate that you earn at least 40 times the monthly rent or have a guarantor, such as a parent or a family member, standing by to support you in the application process. Guarantors should be able to show that they have income of at least 80 times the monthly rent. Now, if you're still enrolled in school, landlords like to see proof of enrollment, and if you're transitioning from school into the workforce, copies of offer letters, pay stubs, or even a current letter from your employer will be very important. Even if you don't yet earn that 40 times the rent or more, landlords like to see whatever income you do have. Copies of recent bank statements are also very important, and the landlord or broker will run a consumer credit report on every applicant, including the guarantors. Finally, if you or anybody living in your household has ever rented from another landlord, including campus housing, a letter or at least a name and phone number from that landlord will be very important to prove that you're a good tenant, you pay your bills on time, and you're a good member of the community.
So we've covered a lot of great information about the rental process and how it works. As a student, what extra paperwork might I have to provide?
You know, a landlord can't discriminate against you for being a student, but they can insist that every applicant show a strong financial profile. So for people who are transitioning from their academic life into the start of their new career, they probably don't have all of the income and assets yet that are required to qualify for an apartment in New York. So having a guarantor is one of the most important things that'll help establish stability in the eyes of the landlord.
So when do I need to begin my search?
I always recommend that tenants start their search somewhere between 4 and 5 weeks in advance of their desired moving date. Brokers tend to get new listings anywhere from 35 to maybe 21 days before the apartments vacate, so that gives tenants plenty of time to make their plans.
And for a student apartment, there would be roommates. Would everybody have to provide the same paperwork, or would one person be okay?
Everyone who's going to live in the apartment will have to fill out an application, they'll have to have their credit run, they'll need to verify their income, their assets, their credit, and their housing history just to be considered for the apartment.
And how long would it take? Let's say we get our application in, when are we going to find out?
Sometimes the same day. Usually no more than 2 to 3 days, as long as we have all of the supporting documentation, bank statements and job letters and all those things, at the time of the application submission.
So my last question is, what are your top 3 tips for a student applying for an apartment?
Number 1, think like a landlord and try to present yourself in the most favorable financial context. Number 2, recognize that this market moves quickly. Be prepared with all your supporting paperwork and all the decision makers every time you view a potential apartment. Well-priced and affordable units go the fastest, and many customers lose a great opportunity waiting for one decision maker to return later to view the apartment again or to supply additional documentation, only to find out that someone else has already taken the apartment. And number 3, stay open to compromise. Be prepared to give on something, whether it's size or price or location or building amenities. One way or another, people usually don't get all 4 of those things in one great package, especially at that starter apartment level. So compromise is what gets deals done in Manhattan.